So JPEG, the football club, and JPEG, the golden team. So JPEG is standing for the Photographic Experts Group, and this is basically me, Sebastian, and I was the CCITT Study Group 8 Special Rapporteur on New Image Communication, and I was also later on responsible for the follow-up ITUT questions between 1986 and 2000. And now in the year of 2017, I am the Secretary General of ECMA International in Geneva, Switzerland. So why is this presentation? Because over the years I had to explain over and over again what JPEG was, what was the relation to the different organizations like the ITU, like CCITT, to ISO, to GTC1, to IEC, to the independent JPEG group, and then who were the main actors, and many similar other questions, and then came to the following simplified explanation, which was, I believe, quite well understood. So there is basically some analogy between soccer clubs and JPEG. So here you can see actually the picture of the German football, Deutsche Fußballbund. So the football club has a long life, yeah, like here. Yeah? So going back to 1900, then you have the same emblem also for 2008, yeah, but it changed a little bit. So but the football teams they played, which have a limited life, you know, they were following one after the other, and they have a much shorter lifetime. So this is very similar also what we have seen in JPEG. So let us take as an example, and here I already mentioned, the various football champion national football teams of Germany. Obviously, I could also have taken other teams too. So here at first, the World Championship team of West Germany, the West German national soccer team of 1954. So on the left-hand side, you can see the Coupe Primée. So that was at that time the coupe that you could win. And then in the middle, you see a very disciplined people, the team, yeah, which was basically characteristic for that point in time.
Kopfball abgewehrt, aus dem Hintergrund müsste Rahn schießen. Rahn schießt! Tor! 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 Tor für Deutschland! Linksschuss von Rahn. Schäfer hat die Flanke da innen geschlagen. Schäfer hat sich gegen Bocik durchgesetzt. 3:2 für Deutschland, 5 Minuten vor dem Spielende. Halten Sie mich für verrückt.
Now, this is the second team that has won from Germany, from West Germany, the World Championship. And this was in 1974. So at that time, you can say the Coupe Primée was already replaced by a new cup. And then the team, it was a completely different type, and also the spirit of the team and the behavior of the team, it was also a completely different one.
I played a 40-meter pass to Bonhoff. Bonhoff pulled it back to Gerd Müller. Gerd Müller scored on the turn. It was a bit of a lucky goal, of course, but okay, it was in, and we.
Then again, here you see the third World Champion team from Germany in 1990. So as you can see, also a team which was very happy in a completely different setting and so on. So let us have a look on the video itself. Well, this is the fourth team that won the World Championship in 2014. Again, completely different team, and you can see they were very, very happy when they won the Cup, World Championship Cup in Brazil in 2014.
Still full of running, and here's Götze! It's Mario Götze! It's Super Mario! He might just have won the World Cup for Germany!
So who are the founders of the JPEG Football Club? Well, the first idea was to found the JPEG Football Club. It came up in 1986 between Hiroshi Yasuda, who worked at ISO TC97 SC2WG8. He was the chair, and Manfred Vorlitzer, CCITT Study Group 8, Nick Spatial Rapporteur Group. So the idea was to create a still picture standard, a photographic still picture standard, and basically both sides had the same application in mind, which was video text photographic mode. So the idea was discussed and agreed among the relevant members of the ISO and the CCITT groups. But for the founding of JPEG, obviously the agreement of the higher bodies was necessary. So the founders of the JPEG Football Club were actually somebody else, were the bodies. So it was ISO TC97 SC2 and ITU, and within ITU CCITT Study Group 8. So as you can see, also below the emblems of ISO and ITU. So who were the owners of the JPEG Football Club? The owners are those, who are financing it, and who are also taking the financial benefits. Well, one of the owners, actually two owners, in 1986. So one owner was the ITU, so CCITT, and the other one was ISO. And the two owners were represented by two people in the group, by Dr. Hiroshi Yasuda from NTT, and the ITU owner in 1986. It was first represented by Mr. Manfred Woltitzer from the Deutsche Bundespost, and from summer 1987 by myself, Istvan Sebestyén from Siemens. Then, in 1987, the ISO ownership changed to ISO IEC ownership, as TC97 was absorbed by the new ISO IEC GTC1. But that had no effect on the JPEG Football Club and by the team. In the ITU, there was also a change, but it was only a change of the name in 1992. At that time, CCITT was changed into the name ITUT, but that was only as a name change. So the JPEG Football Club and its golden team. So as any football club, not any, but as some football club have also a golden team. The golden team is the one which is the best, which performs extremely well. So in that sense, the golden JPEG team, we may say so, I have invented this name. It was the one which have developed the JPEG-1 standard, the JPEG-1, which was the first photographic coding standard, picture coding standard, and it had the name ITUT T81 and ISO IEC 10918/1. And this golden team, it played or it acted between 1986 and 1992. So the standard that they have created and has even today a daily use of several billion images in various different applications. So it is still the standard which is well known or best known among all the standards of the JPEG Football Club. Well, who were the coaches and the players of the team? And here on the right hand side you can see two pictures of the coaches. So the coach or the trainer of the golden football team was between 86 and 88 Mr. Graham Hudson from British Telecom, here on the left-hand side of the picture. And between 1988 and 1992, Mr. Greg Wallace from Digital Agreement on the right hand of the pictures. And the size of the player team, it was not very big. It was between 15 at the beginning in 86 and around 25-30 at the end of 1992. What one could not see, and here's a limit of the analogy, is that behind many of the players at home, and often sub-teams were taught who have to make contribution, make implementation, carry out the tests, etc. The number is not really known. We did not see them. So let us add some more confusion. So to make things even more complicated, the representative of the owners and the coaches also acted as players. So they changed their head. Actually, this also happens in real football, but obviously not on the level of the national football team, but in lower cases. Well, who were the stars of the dream team? That's a question that we are getting very often asked. Who were the stars? In real football, most of the time there are such stars. But in case of JPEG, this was just not the case. So probably there were about 10, 12 players or coach, etc., who were more important for the success of the team, but about the same level with different functions and skill. So one could not really name a Messi or a Beckenbauer, etc. in JPEG. Because the success of JPEG was actually in a teamwork. So JPEG team as a whole. And none in the individual capabilities of the people, and nobody by himself could have created the JPEG standard and make it to such a success. So like in any football team, a team has, of course, a limited life. So this first dream team of JPEG ended in 1992-1993, when the first JPEG standard was completed, and when the trophy, in quotation mark, the standard was delivered to both team owners, to the ISO-IEC and to ITU for approval. So this is what we celebrate in the 25th anniversary, and we did so both in Torino and also now in Macao. But of course, after 92-93, new teams were born and they played. So exactly like in real football. And from the original dream team, by the end of 1999, maybe perhaps just 1 or 2 players remained, and the JPEG Football Club was already playing in different tournaments. So basically for follow-up projects of JPEG, similar JPEG, JPEG1, JPEG2 for black and white images, and of course JPEG 2000. JPEG 2000 was the successor of the JPEG 1 project, which wanted to replace it by a second generation of color compression still image standard. So what about the independent JPEG group? Well, the independent JPEG group were always independent, and they do not fit in the above picture. Nevertheless, in the success of the JPEG standard, they played a very important role, because they got hold of the stable JPEG 1 draft standard, and they started to implement it as open source. And by September 1991, actually they released the first open source code for JPEG. And this allowed that already before the standard was officially approved, early implementation could start and could be included in various software and also hardware projects. So this was a significant contribution to the success of the standard, that we were not only talking and writing night books, but actually there were very serious hints and examples for the concrete implementation. Well, this is the famous picture taken at the January 1988 JPEG selection meeting in Copenhagen at KTS. And this actually includes both JPEG and the Computer Graphic Group members. So that's the reason why it is relatively big. And here, on the other hand side of the picture, actually you could see the signatures of the experts of the January 1988 meeting, selection meeting, with their own autogram. Again, it is a very nice remembrance, but as I said, this was more than the actual JPEG team, it was broader. Well, basically that's the end of the talk. And I hope, you know, that now with this simple analogy, it is better, or it is easier to understand the different roles that people have played and organizations have played in JPEG. So with that, I would like to thank for your attention, and goodbye.
Core JPEG team, with the help of Courage, we have written an article which was published in the IEEE Multimedia magazine in April. And there were 4 authors, or 4 of us from Europe, and inclusive the email addresses. And then in August, beginning of August, so I have, and also the other colleagues have received an email from a historian and journalist who wanted to have all different questions about JPEG and ISO, etc., etc. So there was a list of questions. And then he said, look, I am in great need because I have a deadline. I have to deliver here tomorrow, I don't know how many, 2 pages or something like that. And so please answer me the questions. So very, very quickly, of course, yeah, then I started to answer the question. But it was not enough, so the question came, and actually